Hey guys, this is Chris from More Mana Gaming with our first deck profile featuring the second place finalist from our ARG Invitationals in Atlantic City. Here's Phillip Pena.
Here.
He's going to explain us his deck profile.
So I played blue-black or black-blue. I just thought it was had a lot of longevity in the format in terms of it's probably the best control deck. You get a lot of blue cards that extend the game, and the black cards are just pound for pound, generically the best cards because they do a lot of 1-for-1 trading and stuff. And yeah. So the leader, for everybody that doesn't know, is every time you kill a guy in battle, you get a counter on her. 3 counters you take out to make a golem, little golem token.
Nice.
And then the spirit is once per turn you can put a shard from your active shards to the bottom of your shard deck, draw a card, and then you can flip them over and draw a card. Both are only your turn, so that's where you get the staying power of your deck. So there's not many cards to pick from. There's just a couple cuts you have to make in the deck.
It was just intro decks, right?
Yeah, it was just intro deck tournament, but so I played 3 of the fail golem number 1. I think it's cool. Whenever it dies, you can dump a golem. It's 10k, so it pressures the breakable towers that actually affect the board early, which is cool, and it sets up for your golem synergy. A game where you open this and a game where you don't are completely different games. So it's there to set up the golem synergy. 3 of this golem. It lets you draw a card whenever it enters the board if you have another golem. So as you see, golem synergies are really important with this deck. You play the 1-drop and then you play the 2-drop to draw a card on 2. It's also 10k, so it breaks the early towers. And it's cool because if they play wind, you get it back. And these cards all enter the board and do something, so the wind tower doesn't want to send it back often.
And it checks for the bigger tower too.
Yeah. They're all tower checkers. So the 1-drops are really important in this game because they're just tower checkers for the other towers. So. 3 Golem or Devourment. Whenever they die, they get another copy of them from the deck, and they have Guardian, which is the blocker mechanic of the game. And it's really cool. They can't deal damage, so they're great tower checkers. Because let's say you attack into one of the winds, and you don't want to the wind or fire, and you don't want them to break. It doesn't break them. So when you get ahead on board, you're able to attack with this. Also, it's just a great blocker because it's just always there, which is nice.
Right.
And it's a golem that they can't interrupt your golem synergies on the stack with or I don't know what they call it, stack or chain links.
Q.
On the queue. Because it'll just come back. So it's pretty cool there. One of the better golems is Golem of Hours. When it comes into play, your opponent randomly discards a card, and it's got 20k attack, so it breaks any of the towers it checks. And it's a 3-drop, which is really cool if you are able to play it on curve with the 1-2-3 combo. Or it's just a really good generic attack guy who's pretty good. And if he dies, you don't care because you can get him back later in the game. So.
And that's the synergy you were talking about because you need to have a golem on the board for it?
Yeah. So cool things are if your leader has 3 tokens and you don't have a board, you can play this, and then you can bring the golem in to have the synergy with the token, or any of the 1 or 2 drops, or the blocker golem stacks there a lot. So
gotcha.
I think these are mandatory 3 of as of now. I don't know going into the future, obviously, but 1 Golem of Allurement. This card is so good. I definitely undervalued it. But I didn't know how many people would be playing the Light Spirit, because I thought it at most a lot of people were playing the same deck because I entered an online tournament with it. The first time I ever played this game, I entered an online tournament and I topped that as well. And a lot of the participants were playing this deck. I didn't even know other people knew about this deck, but so they make a lot of Golem Spirits, and you can take the Golem tokens. But they're not that good. It lets you take the 1-drops, but it's really good against the other colors of the format, the yellow lead. The yellow spirit makes a 20k guy. Yeah. You can take that for free. Also, if you break a light tower, you can take it for free, and it lets you take the 1-drops from your opponent. Let's say you're playing a mirror, you can take the synergy early, or it lets you not have to use attackers or resources towards that 1-drop, and you can just take it instead. And I think this card should definitely be a 2 of in the deck at least.
And it's tempo based, right? Because all the tokens in this game are classified as 0-drop.
Yeah.
Take 1 or less.
Also, all the biggest towers, which I guess I haven't shown the towers yet, but the biggest towers are 15k attack. So this checks it because it's 15k as well.
Right.
And you get to break the towers whenever you want with this card. So it's not the worst card. It's also a 3-drop, which I will explain why that matters later in the deck profile.
Right.
This is probably actually one of the best totems, golems. It's a 4-drop. Target attack, which means it can attack active mode units, and you get to because in this game you can only attack tapped units or exhausted units. And then when it comes onto the board, you can pitch a card and give it quickness, which is the haste of the game, and 10k attack. So it goes to 35k attack, which is almost the biggest in the game, and it gets to kill almost any creature. And again, later in the game, it can attack blockers to get them out of the way, so you can deal damage. And it's one of the best golems for fighting on the board. And if you play it second, it's fine too because it has quickness. So it really sets up synergies with the rest of the thing. The only bad thing about it is it can only attack creatures, but like honestly, this just mows down anytime your opponent puts a creature. If you get ahead on board, your opponent can't play creatures, essentially. And if you're behind on board, it lets you catch up. So it's like one of the best cards.
Right.
If you play like a Black Spirit, this is probably one of your cards in your deck. Then I played 2 Golem with Arrogance. I don't really like this card. I think it's more of a one-of, but I couldn't. I didn't have one of the cards, as you'll see later in the deck profile. I would definitely change it with this card, but it was cool. I found a lot of utility in it when getting rid of the guys you can't kill with crazy attack powers, like the 6-drops, because you're able to like kill the little guys on the stack and then make them sack a guy. Because its effect is when it comes into play, if you have another golem, you make your opponent sack a guy, and then if you have less cards than your opponent, they discard a card. So it's a 2-for-1 in there, built in, but it rarely ever does that, and like you pick up a lot of little guys on the board. But due to this golem, you can attack the little guys and set up big trades with this. So it was way better than I thought it was, but I probably only would play one of them.
And because of the 4-drop, the 2,500 on the 5-drop doesn't really matter.
Yeah. This in the mirror match, this just cracks it for free. And so like you think you have board presence because you get them to lose their golem's energy and discard a card, but then they just crack you back with this. So it's like it's kind of hard. A lot of the other decks don't have attack power like this, so it's really good. But the blue deck has like 30k guys regular,
Right.
so it doesn't really do a lot there. But it is good for taking out the Titans. And then I play 3 Dark Titans. They're the Golem of Vengeance. This card is actually insane on the play. It's when it comes into play, you get to look at your opponent's hand, discard a card, and then if you have 2 additional golems, you make your opponent discard 2. So if you tempo out on this and you get like through your trades, you get a golem token, and you still have your devourment, the blocker, or you still have like the 1-drop on board. It's super easy to set up two golems, and you're able to just like take your opponent's Titans, or take anything that affects the board, or Shards of Winter, or you can take anything that's like pressure, and you leave them with like nothing, and then you can crack the towers for free. And it's cool if you crack a water tower and then you use this, because then they refill their hand and you take the 2 cards from them anyway. So it's like a lot. This card is crazy.
Also, things to note: that card has Destroyer text, which means when it cracks a tower, it cracks for 2 towers.
Yeah, it's also like that rarely came up because most of the scenarios you want to attack one at a time to check them. But there's cool interactions with the towers. Like if they have a full board, you want to break the light tower so that they can't put a guy on board. Or if you have no good cards in your hand, you want to crack the Dark Tower in addition to something. So it's also like a lot of people are scared of the breaker effect, so they just block it a lot of the time, which is cool.
Right.
Then I play 3 Strike of the Golems, which is kind of like a mini Soul Charge or like a Monster Reborn if anybody plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Its effect is you can put up to 5 cost of golems from your graveyard into play. So the 3-drop golems really matter because they come in and they have their effects. And the cool thing is you can play them with the 2-drop golem who draws a card, or the blocker, and they come in with instant synergy if you have no board. So like discard a card is really good because you can like discard a card. So basically it has a couple modes of effects. Like discard a card, draw a card, or steal a 1 or less cost and draw a card, or set up a blocker and discard a card. So like there's a lot of things. It also gets you back the target attacker, and it gets you back these 2 guys as well, and he lets you bring back a 1-drop with the strike. So like this card is kind of insane because it's any copy of a golem in your deck, in your graveyard, and then the 1-drop sets it up nicely where you can like if it dies in the early game, you can set up plays that you dump the golem you want later in the game, which came up a lot actually.
Also, you just fill in the pieces that you're missing.
Yeah. So like most of the time I would dump another 1-drop so I don't draw it, but there's a lot of times like if I open this card or I draw it in the first couple turns, I would send the 1 of Allurement to always have it ready, or I would fill out the curve. Like if I had a 2-drop in my hand, I would send the 3-drop to the graveyard, so if the 2-drop dies, I can bring back for a full 5.
Right.
So card's kind of crazy. Then 3 of the Hellish Guardhounds. They're just 20k Guardians, which is really beefy for a 3-drop. And it says when it comes into play, you choose a creature and it can't attack. So that was really relevant when your opponent would play their Titans. You can just lock them down for a turn so you don't have to deal with them. Also, it's a 3-mana cost, which when you get later in the game, the Fizzy Spirit, you kind of want to do it. It lets you like use your 3 mana, draw a card, and then just set up a board for defense, which is really nice. And it has 20k attack, which is big attack. So
That's probably the best black card in your deck that's not a golem.
Well, no, this would be the best black card in the deck.
Gotcha.
Nobu the Shadow Guardian. It's the one of in the dark decks. I can only get 2. That's the card I would replace the other 5-drop golem
Right.
with. But it's a Guardian 25k for 4. And then when it comes into play, it checks if the Dark Tower is destroyed on either player's board, and it gives something minus 20k. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 in terms of you get a big body, it's a blocker, which is really relevant, and then you just kill something.
Right.
You get to kill little guys, so you can make the 5-drop golem do something like make them sack a bigger guy, or you get to kill a blocker, and then your target attack guy can attack somebody for 25k or 35k, whatever his attack is, and it just eats up the board. Also deals with the light token, so you can go for game a lot of the time. Card's really, really good. The only thing is it's like conflicting. You don't want to kill the Dark Tower early, and then like later in the game, when you want to kill the Dark Tower and you have this card in your hand, they could just take it. So
Right.
it's a double-edged sword, but the card is really, really good.
And to clarify, if a creature in this game goes below its starting attack point, the creature dies, correct?
Yeah.
That's
When you hit
why-
0 attack points, you die. So minus 20k is like deal 20k damage essentially.
Right.
Except they lose their attack. Also really relevant. If you minus and then like in battle you minus, they lose their attack points. So like you can win battles like that. That's relevant for the next card. The only dark instant of the deck. It has Instacast, which is like you can play it whenever you get priority. So like spell speed 2 for Yu-Gi-Oh or instants for Magic. And it just gives something. If you control a dark creature, it gives something minus 25k, which is relevant for battle purposes. Also, you just clear out the way of like their bigger guys, and like damage stacks on in this game. So like if I attack into your 30k with my 25k, it has 25k damage on it, so that would kill it.
Right.
So yeah, and this card was really good. It's 2 costed, so it's not overly costed. So you get to leave up 2 mana a lot of times, and the token you get from the leader is dark. So if you ever like don't have targets, you can just make a token and then you have a target.
Right.
And it clears a lot of the better cards in the game. So it's really relevant. And that's like the 48 or the 38 black cards, because the way the game is made, you have to play some blue cards. I play 2 of the the Storm Knight. When it comes into play, if you have more towers destroyed than your opponent, so like you're losing the game,
Right.
you get to target a creature on their side of the board and either put it at the top or bottom. And that was kind of crazy because I figured I'm a control deck. I would like honestly, I'm going for synergy as opposed to damage, and a lot of decks would try to rust me down. So instead of playing something like the blocker where it just sticks versus aggro decks and they can interact with it, this card can deal with other people's titans, and like it can stack like the shitty cards on top of their deck. So like there's a lot of 1-drops you can put on top of the deck and essentially dead draw and make your opponent miss a turn. So it's super relevant, and I think that card is good. It could be a 3-of, but the other cards in my deck are better. And I think there's a lot of water cards you can put in your deck, but these were some of the better ones. And it like worked out a lot of the weekends where it's 25k body on 4, which is really relevant. And it just, like I said, it deals with a creature on the board already, which is nice. Honestly, the best card in my deck is Shards of Winter. When it's a 4-minute card, which is a lot, but when you cast it, your opponent just taps their whole board. So late in the game, when you're losing, or let's say you're just going for towers as opposed to trying to clear the board, their board gets stacked. And then when in this game, when you go to attack, you have to say I'm going to attack. You can tap down their board, and they can't put any more people on the board because it's 5-slot maximum, and you just get to take control of the game. They can't attack ever, and you get to attack their towers for free, and they just can't do anything. And like it literally locks every game. All you need to see is 1, but like sometimes if your opponent's playing Blue Spirit or a Blue Leader, they'll have 3 in their deck as well. So you go into Shard Wars for the win, and it lets you like come back too. Like let's say your opponent has like 4 towers and you have 1, you can charge their attack and like come back, or you can like charge their attack and kill them. Like let's say they're at 1 tower and they have a couple blockers, you just charge and that's game.
Right.
So the card's bonkers. It's actually insane. Probably the best cards in my deck, hands down, and it let me win all of my games. Like I played on stream a couple times. Like I won when I casted 3 of these. I won when I casted 2. I won when I casted 1. It was just like when you had it and your opponent didn't have it, it's unfair. And then when you have it and your opponent has it, you just want more. So 3-of automatic.
Would you say that this card is the reason you're playing the blue at all?
Yeah. It's definitely like more of a controlling card because you need to set up a board, and most of the decks can't establish boards. They're just like chip attackers, or like the blue leader deck establishes a lot of blockers and has like 1 big attacker, as opposed to this one, like every card is a threat almost.
Right.
So So yeah, it's definitely one of the reasons why I was like, let me play blue for the longevity, and this is just how you end the game. So.
Right.
And then the second best card in my deck is honestly the Water Titan. He's has Destroyer just like the Dark one, and when he comes into play, if the Water Tower is broken, you get to pick 2 cards on your opponent's side of the board and put them to the bottom of your opponent's deck. So like, there's no hard removal in my deck. So this deals with like other people's Titans or like multiple blockers. Same way with all the other removal, it deals with the blockers, it deals with the problem cards, and it's just big as hell. There's not a lot of removal for 40k attack. And yeah, that was it.
Is there any other changes you would have made other than the one-off from the black deck?
Just the one of in the black deck. If I had it, I would have put it in. Fortunately, didn't. And the allurement, I probably would have put a second allurement in. I don't know what I would have taken out for that, but the allurement was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Do you imagine the color coordination that you've chosen would continue in set 1, or are you already looking towards new color coordinations for the new step drops?
I do like the green stuff because I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player and it's more appealing to me because it's a lot of combo. But I do think the black is really good, and the blue cards right now, like between the Titan and the Shards of Winter, just have like they're just crazy power levels. So I can imagine like that they have a lot of staying power within the meta, and going forward they're still going to be good. I mean, the guy who beat me in the finals, he was playing a blue leader, and I played against that deck like 5 times the whole tournament, and like even though I beat all the other people, like the deck was still had a really good showing, and the games were close, and luckily he was able to beat me, or well, unluckily I guess. And it's like, so the blue cards just have a lot of showing. So I think like going forward, all the colors are very like good, I think.
And how are you feeling about Argent Saga as a game in general?
I think it's a lot of fun. I played it online and it wasn't a lot of clicks, very slow, but I played it in person and the game is completely different. When you have another opponent sitting across from you, it's super interactive. All my cards like got to interact with my opponent. I felt like I could do something every turn of the game, which was nice. And like when you're in control, you feel like you control. When you're behind, you know you're behind. And yeah, I lost a few games, won a few games, and like nothing seemed overly powerful and like absurd. So that was good. That's a good change of pace. Most of the games I play are very unfair. So.
Is there anything you'd like to add before this video?
Shout out to More Man Gaming. And yeah, hopefully I'll go to more Argent events and hopefully the scene comes big. Support the Kickstarter. I know it's about to reach a stretch goal if you guys get there. And yeah, hopefully the game does really well.
All right, Phil, congratulations for your second place, and we hope to see more from you in Argent Saga and DBS.
Thank you.